Yeah.
Hello.
Boom.
Wow, look at your hair.
Hello.
Can you?
You know what? I'm gonna wear a hat. Oh, we're not recording this. We're just recording the audio. It doesn't matter.
I already hit record.
Oh.
Welcome to the Real Estate Ready podcast.
I'm going to get a hat.
Okay, good idea.
It's froey.
Actually, no, it looks good. I
actually got it cut, like Chelsea cut it a few weeks ago in the front garage.
I totally forgot your wife is.
I know.
She's there, so that's great. But you were just playing golf.
She runs a food blog a company, and she's a hairdresser. It's like the best person to be in confinement to. I have food and my hair. It's amazing.
Totally. That's awesome.
This is kombucha, by the way.
Yesterday, I was on a Zoom call with my son's class. Can you hear me okay?
You just broke up a little bit. You're back now.
Yesterday, I was on a Zoom call with my son's class, and it was Darren's turn to make smoothies, and he delivered it to me in a stainless steel wine cup.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was like, this isn't wine. It was like 1:30.
Everybody's like, I hope it is. I hope it is.
All right. Well, since we're recording, I just thought we'd just dive right in. How does that sound?
Yeah, I feel like a little underprepared, but I got a couple things that I guess I want to update people on and what I'm hearing, and some new things that are coming out about I always get is FHFA, I believe is the acronym. But anyways, what do you want to start?
I have 17 slides.
Woo.
So
all right, you start.
Okay, and then maybe you can just chime in with your thoughts. So I'm going to try this screen share again that we did last time.
Yeah, and then we just talk over it.
And then it didn't work as well as I wanted it to last time. So, all right, here we go. What do you see on your end?
With regards to what?
Can you see my screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can. I see it right here. The care, safer at home, field services of real estate, open restrictions. I got everything. I can see it perfect.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to pull up my notes here. Does that still show for you?
Yep.
Okay, great. So do you see my notes?
The notes that says these guidelines do not apply to counties that have extended stay-at-home orders.
Nope, but that's okay. So that's good because I have some notes on the side. Okay, so basically, This is an update from CAR's General Counsel, Scott Peterson, who I think I reached out to a few months ago to come on the podcast, and he was just super busy. But I would like to try again, obviously. And basically, the new guidelines were released, and you can find in regards to field services, which is technically what real estate and a lot of the industry professionals are, inspectors, appraisers, stuff like that, falls under the field services in Section 2E, Appendix B. And some highlights of that are going to be that showings must be limited to no more than the necessary parties. So think your usually generally speaking, two buyers, and then you as the real estate agent. Gloves and masks are required at this time, and it says that we are required to provide them. So right now, what a lot of the offices are working on doing to help with that is your brokerage should be reaching out to order these gloves and masks in bulk. And then what my brokerage is doing is then I can just purchase it from them. So that makes it easier because I know that inventory is really low on that kind of stuff.
Do you know where they're purchasing it from?
No, my guess is since they have a business account, there's some online bulk supplier.
Because I'm just curious because of all the PPE shortages stuff that's going on, like people on the front lines can't get it. I just wonder where they're getting it from.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Interesting. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's okay. They're also saying that homes must be sanitized between showings. Now that's a really loaded.
Yeah, how do you do that?
I I believe that this, and
Like that would take a day.
there are a few guidelines in the order which you can go in again under that Appendix B. But basically, they're saying to for the surfaces and commonly touched areas, right? So
Okay.
what you can do if you have a listing is you can talk to your sellers about this and see if they're comfortable with just sanitizing the surface after each one. If they're not, then you as a listing agent are going to have to find a way to have that done. And I'm trying to think about brainstorming ways that could happen, and that could even be as simple as having those having it there.
I wonder if you could I would think just open up all the doors. You don't have to touch any door handles. Everything's open.
Right.
You can just walk freely through the house.
Totally. And so
groundbreaking idea.
As things start to, since this was just released on the 27th, and right now, as of the day that we're recording this, that it's April 29th at 12:40, almost 12:45. More and more of these general guidelines are going to be clarified. So just if you have any questions on the real estate end, if you're a real estate agent and you're like, I don't know what to do, you can talk with your managing broker about that. The other thing that that you have to do, and honestly you should be doing already, is maintain a detailed log of all your customer interactions, including date, time, location, names, and a phone number or email for them. I mean, this is Google Calendar, basically. I mean, you know who you're showing property to, and stuff like that. And then so on that note, and of course, all of this varies based on county.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I know people on Monday, they started opening up in-person showings, and it's been huge. And I mean, I'm sure there were realtors that were doing it anyways, but now that it's kind of allowed, it's the traffic is, business has definitely picked back up for sure.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that.
All right, let's do it.
Cool. So, well, before that, actually, and as of today, I believe the first quarter GDP was announced.
Yeah, it was minus 4.9%.
4.8.
But it was but then I think -4 was what they were expecting. But the big news today was that Gilead came out and they had some successful results on a placebo test, and the results came back pretty favorably. I can't remember the name of the drug, but it's all over the news. So that's got people really hopeful, and in the market today has responded, and it's up quite a bit. But which is crazy. 26 million people have lost their jobs. The market has rebounded. Like, oh my gosh, it's only down maybe 15% for the year. So, but it's why I read something today from somebody who's been reading through a lot of conference calls, and because it's the earnings season right now, like Google just announced yesterday, and a bunch of these
what
companies.
Season?
Say that again.
What season is it?
Oh, it's earnings season. So it's at the end of the quarter, right around where these companies come out with their earnings report. But this article, this gentleman who I follow mentioned that a lot of these conference calls, a lot of these CEOs and boards are realizing that they can function and work and produce, which means making money, with just as fewer employees. So it's going to be it's going to be really interesting to see how many people actually get hired back of the 26 million that have lost their jobs in the last month or two, and how these companies are going to adjust going forward, and they might realize, hey, we don't need to have as many people working as we thought, and we don't need to have as many people working in the office as we thought. So how that affects everything going forward is yet to be seen, but it'll be fun to watch, I think.
100%.
Or it'll be crazy to watch.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on that note, speaking of unemployment, do you see my graph here?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So these are just the weekly unemployment filings. You can see that it peaked March 28th, and it's going down. And on May 8th, we will get the Bureau of Labor Statistics will also release a breakdown of where those unemployment filings, what sectors of the economy those unemployment filings are coming from. We did talk about this a few episodes ago, but the numbers were only from half of March. So now that we have we will have all of April's unemployment filings and every sector of where those are coming for on May 8th. So it'll be interesting to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That's amazing. Wow.
And then we have the unemployment rate forecast. So you can see that all these different
Wells Fargo is so bad.
Yeah, I know.
Mean, I don't know. That's so funny. They're at 7.3%. Like, we're already at 5%. I think we're already at that, or anyways, who knows?
Right. Well, we will know more on May 8th.
Yeah, and over the summer too. It'll be interesting.
But I think the important thing to keep in mind here too is like 80% of people still have a job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's we talked about like last time, like 70% of the GDP in this country it's a consumer-based economy. So, how that affects it going forward with people not being able to spend, and that's how our economy works. But
totally,
that's what I want to watch.
Yeah. Okay, and then I've posted this next slide quite a bit on our Instagram page, but basically what this is showing is the kind of the GDP forecast of what this crisis is going to look like. And as you can see from,
Yeah.
And again, this is just all forecast, but based on past.
That's an interesting chart. Yeah, that's really interesting. Great Depression took 12 years.
Actually, this is unemployment rates, not GDP.
Yeah, this is the time it's going to take to get back to the pre-crisis employment levels.
And they're saying a
couple of years.
A couple of years, which is.
I see. Yeah, I think it's going to take longer than that. I think you're just not going to what these conference calls are saying is I just think you might not ever get back to that level for maybe longer.
We will see. But the important thing too to keep, and based on Zillow is saying that web traffic has picked up since March 22nd, outpacing or remaining just a few percentage points behind 2019 levels through early April. So people are looking, page views are up and people are looking at for sale listings. They're home and they're online looking at homes. So being only a few percentage points behind 2019 is not bad. And this is just regarding web traffic. And then this was just released today from CNBC is evidence is mounting that home buyers may be coming back to the market after demand plummeted in the past month due to the coronavirus. So this is reflective of what they are seeing in mortgage applications for purchases. It's important to distinguish that. We don't know if this data is pent up demand or if it's just regular buyer demand regardless of the crisis and not taking into account the pent up demand. So this will get more clear as the data rolls out. And then we have
every once in a while you break up. I hope that
I know. Okay.
It's all right. Well, it's not that bad.
Okay. So here we have the weekly showing. We're showing time released these numbers showing that weekly showings are picking up. And this goes back to what I just said earlier too. People are not only has web traffic increased drastically, but showings are beginning to go up. Virtual, and this is including virtual and in-person showings. So page views are up and appointments are up.
Have you done a virtual showing yet?
I mean,
Or
I
that happens before. I mean, you were doing it before this
I've done
time too.
those so many times in the past because I have so many out of state reload clients. A lot of my clients are reload.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been doing this for a long time. And it's interesting that you say that because I will have another slide later on talking about, actually it's the next slide. So let me just keep going. Okay.
It's perfect. It's a headway.
Yeah. Pending,
Segue.
pending sales are picking up too. So people are, web traffic has increased, showings have increased, and pending sales are beginning to pick up. So pending sales turned positive in the week ending April 15th and is up 6.2% week over week as of the 7 days ending April 19th. So we're seeing more pending sales week over week. And this is, and then I went and I did a little bit more deep dive and I went into Zillow, and it said newly listed homes were down 27.1% from a year ago in
What
the first.
percent?
Newly listed homes were down 27.1% from a year ago in the first
27.1.
week of April.
Gotcha.
The number of fresh listings typically grows by 50% from March 1st to early April, so about 45 days. But this year fell 19% as the coronavirus pandemic worsened. So, and then going to what you were saying about virtual showings, as buyers and sellers adapt to the social distancing restrictions, 3D home tours are up 408% from
Mm-hmm.
February.
That makes sense.
Yes.
400% though.
So a lot of people might be thinking, is right now a good time? Is buying a home right now a good time? And the fact of the matter is that there are still people that need to buy,
I'd
no
say
matter what. People need to move for one reason or another. So
I, I think the idea of living outside a city is going to sound a lot more appealing.
and I have something on that at the end of this.
Cool.
So people still need to buy. I mean, there's people that have to move. They don't have a choice. Number two, agents are real estate agents are embracing the virtual process of buying real estate and finding a way to deliver a tour to their clients one way or another. I've had clients place offers on properties long before this pandemic without looking at them, simply because they didn't have a choice and they really relied on the content that I was able to give them, and then really just relying on me as an advisor to make that decision. And then number three,
Right.
a number three reason why buying a home right now is still smart is buyers are realizing that low interest rate equals low payments, and we have low interest rates.
Yep. Yeah. I have a lady right now that was at like 5.5, and we might get her down to like 3 1/8, and she's like, "Oh my god, save like $300 or $400 a month or something like that." Crazy.
That's amazing.
I know, that's a lot of money a month.
Okay, so next we are going to take a look at where this is impacting nationwide. So the number of newly listed homes typically picks up in late March and early spring, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
In 2018 and 2019, there was an average of 49.9% more fresh listings coming onto the market nationwide on April 5th compared to March 1st. But this year, it's been quite the opposite, as many states have recommended or mandated residents mostly stay at home. New listings in the US have fallen 19% from the beginning of March. So you can see that in yellow, the new listings in the United States down 19%, with Detroit, Michigan being the most greatly impacted at 61.8%, followed by Pittsburgh, New York, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Miami, Boston, Chicago, LA, so major cities.
I'm surprised New York was only minus 49.1. I thought that would be higher.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Love kombucha, by the way. So
Okay, so
delicious.
overall active listings are up this spring as for sale homes linger on the market. So it's down 8.3% year over year as of April 5th. Total US inventory has grown 2.5% since March 1st, a sign that homes already listed have been sitting on the market longer while buyers have pulled back. In some markets, total inventory is up by much more, including as much as 37.7% in the Seattle metro area, which is among the largest markets hit by the coronavirus outbreak. And again, for people that are listening and not tuning in, this is the last couple slides, and the information is pulled straight from the Zillow Economic Research Center. So the cool thing is, and this is from Michael Lane at Showing Time, president, I think he's the president of Showing Time. We're seeing innovation come out of pain as agents have quickly embraced virtual showings to keep their business going. More and more virtual showings are scheduled every day through our systems, signaling that many markets are responding to this innovation positively. So like we said before, with the number of 3D home tours created on Zillow has skyrocketed. 408% greater than normal. And I think I said that the listings with 3D home tours received about 50% more site visitors and were saved 60% more frequently than listings without 3D home tours. So if you weren't already doing it, you're doing your sellers a discredit by not
in the
including
game.
it. Okay, so I guess this is kind of shifting gears a little bit to home ownership percentage rates. So right now in 2020, we're seeing home ownership percentage rates fall at about 65.3% of the population, which is right on par to
It's the highest in 7 years. That's pretty amazing.
It is the highest in 7 years. And so the important thing to keep in mind too is it in 2008, during the housing market crisis, you can see it really started to drop drastically. And that was, a result of consumers thinking that maybe owning a house isn't such a good idea.
Or they couldn't afford to pay their mortgages.
Right.
I think they own too many homes.
So it definitely peaked in 2005 and went down from there.
Yeah, I think a couple of years before the Great Recession.
And now here it's broken down, home ownership rates as a percentage for the last 4 quarters. So it is steadily rising. Q2 of 2019 was 64.1%, and Q1 of 2020 up at 65.3%. Do you know Terry Haggerty?
I don't. From Goldman Sachs.
I thought maybe this was your friend. I'm just kidding.
No.
All right. So
I'm sure he plays golf though.
He is in the building products and building management division of Goldman Sachs. So he's helping advise CEOs in our industry. And he says in 2008, you saw a large number of Americans who thought that maybe borrowing a bunch of money and buying a house is not the best investment. And he's thinking that I think you will see the opposite effect this time around. Because everyone is comparing this crisis to 2008, it's really important to focus on what distinguishes, what differences there are. So, Chris, you said something earlier, and I took this straight from a podcast that I listened to. There's a podcast which I highly, highly recommend anyone who's interested in this kind of stuff check out. It's called Exchanges at Goldman Sachs, and there was a podcast with Terry Haggerty. So a lot of the stuff that I'm pulling, that I'm going to be saying in the next couple of minutes, is going to be straight from him that he said, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing.
Cool.
So there is a view that this could be the catalyst that pushes a large number of millennials out of the city centers and into the suburbs.
I agree.
An,
Totally.
an accelerant to that trend is that working from home is going to become easier and more accepted, and therefore being in a city center is less relevant. There could be a real spike in remodeling spending, specifically outdoor living expenditure. And I want to elaborate on that just a little bit, because then he also goes on to say the age of homes has increased. The average age of homes has increased to 40 years in the US. So we are seeing spikes in building product sectors because of aging homes. At 40 years, what do you need to start doing to your house?
Bulldoze it to the ground. Start over.
You need to start putting some
buy Home Depot stock. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
so,
endless.
So and the and obviously as stuff starts to come out for April, as April's numbers start to come out in May, we're going to be busy in May, my friend. It's gonna
April was really busy.
It's gonna look really dire for the housing market. The numbers that are gonna come out are gonna look really, really scary. But
so I had a couple. Hang on here. Let me see if I can find them today. That came out. See if I can pull some of these.
Oh my gosh, I did not have any caffeine, but I did drink some mushroom coffee and I still feel jittery.
I'll have to look it up. But yeah, there was like, it had to do with new home sales data. I think it was like 21% in March or something like that.
I got you, my friend.
All right, fire away.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just go into diving a little bit further into why this crisis is different from 2008. I know you know this, but it doesn't hurt to refresh our own memories.
Sure.
And our listeners. So like I was saying, the information that comes out for April, which will come out, those will start to come out in May. It's going to be rough for the housing market, and these numbers are going to feel dire. But this time is dramatically different from 2008, and here is why. It's a little thing called supply and demand. We have a huge difference in the inventory available. I had a note on here to go back and pull some slides about inventory available in 2008 versus now, but it's a huge difference. We just don't have the inventory. The financial strength of our industry, the housing market industry, is in a completely different than it was in 2008. And consumer leverage is better. We know that people have more equity in their homes now than they've ever had before. So what we're going to see, so millennials, and this is kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, millennials have been delaying family formation and delaying buying homes. I learned that this is called extended adolescence. The median age of a home buyer in 1985 was 32 years old. Today, that is 47.
Wow.
And what we're starting to see that trend change, and more millennials are starting to buy. I mean, we know that millennials is they're the next wave of home buyers. Like that goes.
They are the wave. They're not the next. I think they're the current wave.
Right, right.
And they'll be around for a while.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, in March, new home starts were down 20%. And the April data is going to show it to be much worse. There was a pause in construction, but COVID-19 hasn't fundamentally changed the sector, and they suspect that new home starts to return to 2019 levels sometime in 2021. That goes back to that previous chart that we looked at earlier, which was this here. So coming back more in that 2021 range to a little bit more of normal. Where was I? And this applies to the broader construction industry as well. I chat with a handful of my builder friends on the phone, and everyone's just seeing that little slowdown, that little lull in business. Home builders are down 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Home builders are down 50%, and product manufacturers are down 35%. Sometimes I have the same data twice because I'm like, take vicious notes. And then
Yeah.
like,
I know.
but overall it's looking, I mean, it is what it is. Our job is to just look at the information and analyze it and deliver it. And then it's
Yeah.
going to change. And there's going to be things that we say that we're like, remember when we thought this? Well, because of this, this is actually the way it is. So
I
it's just
know.
kind of a big game. It's really actually quite fun. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, mortgage rate projections and where they are going. A lot of the buyer demand is going to be driven by mortgage rates, and the forecast for that is favorable. And like you were
Mm-hmm.
saying about, I know you don't like to throw numbers out, but you just did. So I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you to say that number again for that client that you were talking about.
Um, with regards to interest rates and everything like that. Oh, yeah. So, um, oh, the client that was at 5.5 or something, and maybe get them down to 3 1/8, 3 1/4. Yeah, I mean, we're in the low. If you have good credit, you're in the high 700s, and you've done a good job of managing it. You right now you can be in the 3 1/4 range for sure, which is just crazy. And I
Totally.
think it's going to stay. I mean, people that are like, if they're worried about having a spike in rates, I think there's really no need to have any concern, because there's just no way the rates are going to they're going to pop back up as 26 million people are unemployed. We're coming out of this world global pandemic. Finally, global. I mean, basically, every economy was shut down, and so that's going to take a while to come back online. And as they slowly start to open up things, I think you're just going to see rates stay low for the rest of the year. I mean, it's going to be just a new world. I think free money
Yeah, and it
with
looks like,
inflation.
yep, yep, looks like
Mm,
that's what, and that is exactly what Freddie Mac is projecting.
yeah.
Right now they're saying Q2 3.3%, and I'll go all the way to Q1 of 2020. They're projecting 3.1%.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'll just end with on a positive note, and this is from Google. The data tells us, and people are looking for two things right now: help and comfort. If you're able to help them navigate the current situation, tell them about, thank you. If you're able to help them navigate the current situation, tell them about that. Think like a caring human being with the resources to help millions. That's us. Then act accordingly in the mutual interest of business and society. So, really, ultimately, our job is to bring information and hope that that information will provide some comfort and get people out of fear, decision paralysis, and be able to just move forward with the right next step in their life, whatever that is for them.
Hmm. Hmm. No, I love it. Those were good. Yeah. I mean, I guess the last thing I'd end on, it is more, it's more good news as well. And from the mortgage standpoint is, the FHFA has now allowed, they're now purchasing mortgages that went into forbearance after they closed. And so it's not for all loans, like cash out. I don't believe they are still accepting those. But the whole point is that these lenders are able to loosen up some of their guidelines that they put into place a few maybe weeks or months ago. Because you've seen a lot of restrictions on jumbo loans, on portfolio loans, bond loans. And so this will hopefully kind of get the waters running a little bit for all these other products. But yeah, I think it's just still too early to see what's going to happen. But yeah, it is good news.
Good. Okay. What has been the most favorite meal that your wife has made you in since quarantine?
Oh, geez. She made these fajitas the other day that were insane, insane. And then you just kind of get a little tortilla and you fry it on the pan, and then
Oh,
it had like peppers and onions and chicken, and then these black beans. Um, that's like off the top of my head, but
okay,
it's all
and
good. I'm
where
so
can
spoiled.
people go? What where can
So,
people go to find the recipe for that?
Maze Menu. Go to Maze Menu.
And how do you spell that?
It's Maes. Maes Menu. So it's my wife's middle name. But yeah, Maze Menu, Maes menu.com. And you can see what I'm eating every night. And it's
Awesome.
awesome. What about you? What are you doing to stay to try and stay sane during all of this? What's your release?
Well, honestly, I'm not doing really anything too terribly differently than I have in the past because for my husband and I, we've both worked from home for a long time together. The only
Yep.
thing that has really changed is having my now 15-year-old son home full time.
Having your what?
My son, Ethan,
Um,
home full time. And
yep.
so I guess ultimately what we've had to do is just be on it as a family, and we have to be accountable for ourselves. And so there's certain things that are non-negotiable that you have to do every day for your mental health. And
Hmm.
we're just making sure to do those things, and everyone's responsible for themselves. But in regards to diet, we've been whole food plant based. So
How great is that, by the way? The Whole Foods home delivery. I know you did it before we did, and it is awesome.
oh yeah. Yeah, I don't go to the grocery store because it drives me insane. But we're no meat, no dairy, no so
Are you
for about
vegan?
6 weeks now. I don't like to use the V word because
You
it's
don't
so
want to use
trendy.
that boat,
But yeah,
use that
technically
tagline.
technically we're vegan. Um
That's
so
true.
but so we've been as a family exploring that, and it's actually been really fun, and I a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, this is good. Well, I yeah, that's all I got for updates here. And it's been super busy and the buyers are back, I feel like. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, busy, busy. So, I mean, I heard someone in the finance world be like, "This is like Super Bowl of the finance world." We're like,
I know.
and for us,
I know.
like just staying educated and informed when it's changing by the minute,
Yeah.
it's
So
difficult.
Google, when they came out yesterday, I guess their search volume is like 4x of what it normally is at peak times, like during the Super Bowl. Like their average daily search volume is 4x their previous highs. So people are
Yeah.
just online bored searching shit.
Yep. Cool. Well,
But
thank you. And I'm
cool.
sure we'll do another one of these next week. And
Yeah,
we'll,
let's do another one next week. Tell producer D I say what's up.
okay, I will. And then for listeners right now, I'm not going to post all of those slides on the Instagram, but I will post the more interesting and relevant slides so that people can just keep
Yeah,
track.
there's some good stuff in there.
And I'm doing it more for myself than I am just as much as everyone else because I want to be able to go back and look at that data that's in one place. So if you want to know where all that is, it's Real Estate Ready Podcast on Instagram. So, all
Cool.
right.
All right, Amanda, I'll see you later and bye.
Bye.